What's up everybody, D-Man back, welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla x Kong The New Empire news roundup. That's right, in this video we will be continuing our chronological journey through the development of Godzilla x Kong The New Empire by talking about events from February of 2023. So in this video, as we continue our chronological journey through the development of Godzilla x Kong The New Empire, we'll be talking about events that happened just a little over a year ago during production, getting into a little bit of post-production, talking about some GVK stuff that's very juicy, and then covering a couple things that are just loosely associated with the New Empire in some way or another. Starting out, I really love this one. This is Space Dragon 14's Godzilla and Kong buddy cop poster. I just think it's so funny. It's also really funny given that Wingard says his idea for the New Empire was basically to make it a buddy cop movie. This next piece blew up. It comes from Qianchen Kang, and it is a Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2021 piece in the style of ukiyo-e. I don't really know if I said that right. I definitely didn't. It's an art style, I guess. It's very rad. I love this interpretation of Mechagodzilla. Next up, we've got a little bit more Monarch G-Team stuff to talk about. If you don't know what Monarch G-Team is, I've got a whole video breaking it down so you don't have to wonder. But basically, O'Shea Jackson Jr., one of the actors from Godzilla King of the Monsters, is working with Toho Kingdom's Chris Mirjahangir to try and launch a Godzilla anime inspired by the MonsterVerse, taking elements from King of the Monsters and running in their own direction with it. And in order to promote it and get some hype for his project, he wore a shirt of Monarch G-Team on The Late Show while promoting Cocaine Bear. Toho Kingdom celebrated this. He flashed the shirt on the show. Very fun, very cool. He did the same thing while promoting Cocaine Bear on the Today Show. So he was making his rounds trying to get hype for this thing, and I just find that so fun. O'Shea also shouted out Monarch G-Team on a podcast. Now, I have covered all of this more in depth, giving more details on that project in my video about the topic. Next up, this one was very controversial, but man, do I think it's so cool. Spiral Studios, one of the highest quality Godzilla brands around, is doing these incredible Godzilla models, and their next stop was Zilla from 1998. This is their Godzilla 1998 revealed. This is their prototype for it. Here we have the official headshot that they released for it, and then they did their official announcement of the Zilla Spiral Studios Legacy Series model, sculpted by Tanaka Kenichi. This statue is 49 inches and will run you $1,099, and they have of course recreated one of the iconic shots from Godzilla 98 based on the CGI and animatronic they proudly advertise. Some of these pictures make it look a little bit more like the Zilla babies to me, but some of them absolutely look like Godzilla 98. These are the official promo photos for it. It's just got so many incredible details, as all of their stuff does. I love all the cracks and crevices in this guy. I love all of the brown and the grays and the orange eyes and the tongue and the mouth and the whole thing, the spines on the back. It just is so incredible. I really love this. I absolutely love to see some love being given to the 1998 Godzilla. While it's certainly not my favorite Godzilla, nor is it my favorite Godzilla design, I definitely think it deserves some level of love and appreciation, and I'm really happy that a high quality product like this can exist. The reason this was so controversial is because they labeled it as Zilla. Now, to be clear, Toho renewed the Zilla trademark in 2017, and they renewed it for 10 years, so it'll expire in 2027. This includes the name, the likeness to both the CGI model and the animatronics, as well as all other associated properties of this character. They are the ones who licensed this out to Spiral Studios, and they are the ones who decided that it would be called Zilla. Don't come down on Spiral Studios about this, as many people did. In fact, Spiral Studios had to put out a statement against this, stating that they are not the ones who titled it this. It was just simply the trademark that they got the rights to. They didn't pick the name Zilla. It's not their fault. It's just simply the way that licensing works. I don't know why fans get so rabid about this anyways. It truly does not matter and is a really ridiculous thing to throw such a fit about. You can call it Godzilla, you can call it Zilla, you can call it Geno, call it whatever you want. Don't attack Spiral Studios about it though, that's ridiculous. I'm just really excited that a product like this could exist. I'm just excited that this character is getting some love. KDM clarified that Toho owns everything Godzilla 1998 except distribution of that film. Sony owns almost nothing associated with it. It's just something they licensed. That's the same thing that's going on with Legendary, which I believe means that Toho can use the Legendary Godzilla and the 1998 1998 Godzilla however they want, whenever they want. I'm pretty sure they're allowed to do that. Now, maybe there's some contract stipulations with Legendary that's like, well, we're producing these movies, you can't use the likeness to this character without asking us, but over time it'll be Toho who winds up owning that version of the character. A Godzilla vs. Kong pinball table by Zen Studios was announced for 2023. Here's a poster for it. I'm a little disappointed in that it is a digital pinball table, which I think is really boring. Who wants to play digital pinball? Why wasn't it real? That would be so cool if it was real. Godzilla vs. Kong playing cards were to be released by Aquarius, and they were $7.99 a pop. I didn't hear anything more about those. A Godzilla vs. Kong fun box tin tote from Entertainment Earth was revealed. I think this is super cool. Love the vintage vibes of it. And then Hiya Toys revealed their King Ghidorah 2019. This thing is just incredible. It stands much taller than SH Monster Arts King Ghidorah. It just looks insane. I believe the SH Monster Arts King Ghidorah was based upon the concept art for Godzilla King of the Monsters, which is why it doesn't 100% resemble the character from the movie as is. Many people complained about how fragile that one was, and they complained about how heavy it was. It couldn't stand on its own. Well, you can see here Hiya's can't really stand on its own either, but they have added more articulation so that it can stand without the use of supports. Ghidorah stands at 13.77 inches tall and has a 22-inch wingspan. He was released for $90 in China, although I believe he's a little more expensive here in America. So the wings are able to stand on their own or off the ground, and Ghidorah features 27 points of articulation per neck and 10 points of articulation per wing. I think that's so cool. I get why people were so hyped about that one, especially because NECA did not commit to making a Ghidorah, so it was really cool to see them do this. We have more details about the original Godzilla vs. Kong plotline that was changed. The original Godzilla vs. Kong plotline involved the Orca Z leading Behemoth and a series of skull crawlers to Skull Island and then into the Hollow Earth through the Skull Island portal. Skull Island was originally going to be the bridge between Earth and the Hollow Earth, and this was all set up in the King of the Monsters post-credits, but changed due to some creatives wanting to go a different way. KDM reveals almost the entire original Godzilla vs. Kong was thrown out or changed mid-shooting, nearly losing all of the King of the Monsters connection. Michael Dougherty, of course, did do rewrites on Godzilla vs. Kong, but none of his ideas really stuck around. He was trying to make it a much more cohesive universe and a much more cohesive movie to his film, and it just didn't really wind up that way. One of the Godzilla vs. Kong losses was the King of the Monsters post-credit scene, which eventually got shifted to the Godzilla vs. Kong post-credit scene, which featured Mothra's rebirth. This version of it for Godzilla vs. Kong was shot with Dr. Ling in an underground base in Shanghai, protected by two thugs watching the rebirth of Mothra. This was scrapped from the movie because they didn't want to commit to a post-credit scene when they didn't know they were going to get a sequel, and because they didn't know if they were going to be allowed to bring Mothra back for future films. Why waste the money on a post-credit scene you don't know you're going to get to capitalize on? But this was shot. Everything I hear about the original version of Godzilla vs. Kong makes me think I probably would have liked that movie a lot better. I just think a lot of the ideas were really solid. That being said, I really do like the movie we got, and I'm pretty satisfied with Godzilla vs. Kong as is, so while I am disappointed to hear some of this stuff was lost, especially because I feel like Godzilla vs. Kong doesn't really fit with the rest of them, I just feel like the world building doesn't fit with what we had seen previously. I'd like to believe that the new Empire is going to be more cohesive with Godzilla vs. Kong than Godzilla vs. Kong was with King of the Monsters. I do really hope we do see a continuation of Michael Dougherty's ideas though, because his world building I found to be the best of the MonsterVerse, and his ideas I think were the strongest of the MonsterVerse in terms of a world building and sequel setup potential standpoint. We have Godzilla x Kong the New Empire's producer credits. It will feature Alex Garcia, Eric McLeod, Mary Parent, Brian Rogers, Thomas Toll, and John Jasahani, so a lot of these names are returning from Godzilla vs. Kong, with executive producers Adam Wingard, Josh Groh, Jay Asnefelter, Jen Corey, Kenji Okuhira, and Yoshimitsu Banno. Of course, Banno did pass away a couple years ago, but his credits will continue as that was part of his contract with Legendary. Weta was then announced to be returning for Godzilla x Kong the New Empire. As I understand it, Weta was responsible for most of the Hollow Earth VFX in Godzilla vs. Kong. Weta is joined by DNEG, MPC, Rodeo FX, Scanline VFX, and ILM to all have VFX credits on this movie. There's a lot of VFX in the New Empire, as there were with Godzilla vs. Kong, and so you have to have a lot of studios working on different aspects of the movie. I think with Godzilla vs. Kong, it all flowed very, very well. You couldn't tell when we were shifting from one studio's work to the next. In fact, I don't even know what anybody else did on Godzilla vs. Kong. That just goes to show that the movie was really solid and cohesive in terms of its VFX planning, and I think that the New Empire will be too. KDM teases more than one of the new 7 wonders of the world will appear in this film, and of course, given all the trailers and TV spots we've seen so far, we know that some of those are Christ the Redeemer, the Great Pyramids of Giza, the Roman Colosseum, and of course, King Kong, the 8th wonder of the world himself. VFX shooting started in Rome, Italy. Former shooting happened in Rio, Morocco, Gibraltar, and Hawaii, but Godzilla x Kong returned to filming again. Filming wrapped for Godzilla x Kong, and then they just kept going back to work. They're like, oh, we got more to do. And they did. They have a lot more to do because because the new empire is going to span the globe. We're seeing so freaking much of Earth in the new empire, going from Rome to Rio to Hollow Earth to Egypt. We're going all over the place. I don't know if we're going to anywhere in America though. I don't think there's going to be really any destruction happening in America. It's kind of cool that the MonsterVerse has expanded into a global thing now. But they did return to Rome to start filming. In fact, they shot at, you guessed it, the Colosseum. There was a lot of shooting happening at the Colosseum. Aerial shooting started in Rome with a second unit crew getting the landscapes, the environment, all of the buildings. Filming then continued at the Vittoriano building. I definitely said that right, don't even question it. Which KDM teased will be destroyed in the new movie, as he teased the same fate awaited the Pantheon building, where VFX shooting continued. KDM teased that there will be lots of shots of people running away in Rio and Rome, with stunt doubles falling downstairs, taking big dives, and a lot of the shots will mirror Mechagodzilla's rampage in Godzilla vs. Kong, kind of exactly what I predicted. Just a montage of destruction where we don't linger on the human impact very much because these movies don't really care about that these days. We all know what this is. I don't want to say what Titan it is, but we now know. We have it confirmed. I've talked about it in videos. Godzilla x Kong the Hunted comic book told us what Titan Godzilla will be facing off against, but it seems that Godzilla x Kong the New Empire will start in Rome with Godzilla on a battle path, war path against a fellow Titan, one that we have already seen. Godzilla is going to be defending Rome against another Titan doing his King of the Monsterly activities. This other Titan was awakened due to the events of Godzilla x Kong the Hunted's comic book. I think this is going to be maybe a bit like a Gamera 3 styled opening. I believe Gamera 3 starts with Gamera fighting off some Gauss, and it was just showing Gamera's doing some Gamera Guardian of the Universe type stuff, and it was a good way to set the stage for the rest of the movie. I think they're going to do that here, which is fantastic. That's an idea that I felt needed to happen in Godzilla vs. Kong and didn't, because that movie really wasn't concerned with world building as much as it was concerned with the plot and getting the plot done as fast as possible. I really like that movie, but I do gotta criticize it sometimes. And having Godzilla battle in Rome is really cool. He's never done that before. Having him fight in the Colosseum would be awesome, but from the teasers, it seems he's actually just gonna be taking a nap there, so that's a little underwhelming and disappointing. But the rest of the stuff sounds really cool. Iconic buildings getting destroyed, that's always great. VFX shooting ended after 5 days, and it was all over. The second unit crew celebrated the end of their production as well. So if Godzilla x Kong the New Empire goes back to filming, which I don't know if it will, that will be amazing. Why do they keep doing it? They just need so many VFX references, I guess. KDM announced some of the key locations where filming happened. A lot of it is like Queensland and Village Roadshow Studios in Australia. Most of the stuff is in Australia. Rainforest Daintree, Mount Tambourine, Surfers Paradise, Gardens Point, Southport School, Cape Tribulation. All that stuff is in Australia, and I definitely pronounced all of it right. And then additional VFX shooting happened in Iceland, Gibraltar, Morocco, Rio, Hawaii, and now Italy. KDM teased Gia is back in a big way, and from the New Empire trailers, it seems like she's gonna have a mystical connection with the natives of the Hollow Earth and with whatever Titan they worship. Gia being back is one of the reasons that this movie will feature a 5-year time skip so that it can explain the age gap between Kaylee Huddle not being an 8-year-old anymore. She's like 16 now, so you do need to do a time skip. KDM then teases 2 connections to Monarch Legacy of Monsters, stating that one of them will be large and one of them will be small. I wonder if any of them will deal with the ending stinger of Legacy of Monsters where we wind up on Skull Island, or if they'll deal with Apex's involvement with Monarch. That would be what I would expect. He says that they're not really Titan related, so I don't know. Maybe it is just going to be something as small as Monarch is now working with Apex and we learn a little bit more about the Monarch Apex deal. Or maybe it'll be like a character or something from Legacy of Monsters will be referenced. Maybe Tim will be referenced, or Verdugo or something like that. I don't know. That'd be cool. I really hope they do something like that, but I'm just not convinced. I just don't think they're paying that much attention to continuity in this cinematic universe. KDM then teases that the third act for Godzilla x Kong will be the biggest battle in the MonsterVerse yet, bigger than the Battle of Boston, stating that we can't even imagine how they're going to solve the threat of this movie. We now know he's most likely referring to not only the Hollow Earth battle, where Godzilla and Kong go down to the Hollow Earth and probably fight within the gravity inversion against the army of Scar King apes, but then make their way to the surface where a big 5-way war breaks out in Rio between Scar King, Shimo, and Godzilla, Kong, and Zuko. I'm really excited about all of that. Personally, my most hyped matchup in the New Empire is actually Kong versus Scar King. I think that's going to be the coolest, at least for me, but the rest of it does sound awesome as well. And that third act does seem like it's going to be really nuts. A Godzilla x Kong the New Empire plot synopsis was revealed. We've definitely talked about this before on the channel, but we've got a little bit more insights now, so let's dive back into it one last time. The 5th movie is pitting Godzilla and Kong against a colossal, undiscovered threat hidden within our world, challenging their very existence and our own. The film will delve further into the histories of the Titans, their origins, and the mysteries of Skull Island and beyond, while uncovering the mythical battle that helped forge these extraordinary beings and tied them to humankind forever. Obviously, the undiscovered threat is Scar King and Shimo, challenging their very existence and our own. I believe that the diving into the history of the Titans is going to be because Shimo is revealed to be the original Titan, Titan or the oldest Titan, something like that. The origins and mysteries of Skull Island, I believe, refers to the fact that Scar King is the one who placed the red handprint on the Skull Island mountain, and Scar King probably killed or enslaved a bunch of the original inhabitants of Skull Island, and now they live in his kingdom. And then the extraordinary battle that tied these creatures to us forever, I don't really know what that's referring to, but in the trailer we hear that the great apes used to be the protectors of humanity, so we'll probably find out how the Hollow Earth culture relates to the great apes, and whatever protection they used to have offered by the great apes before Scar King came along. Those legends will probably be what inspires a new age of coexistence post GXK. Those are all our updates for today. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. If you want to check out the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. What do you think of all of this? Comment down below and let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys next time for the next one. D-Man out.